Hello everyone, my name is David Minervini. My teammate Aaron Wells and I, taking Management Science 778, Revenue Management from Dr. Mark Ferguson, have prepared for you our final project, which is an optimization of the revenue of the Zion Lodge, which is located in Zion National Park. And so to talk a little bit about our objectives and key deliverables, first we want to help Zion Lodge's management evaluate, develop, and optimize its pricing strategy to suit the high demand for rooms. We'll formulate a forecast based on our new pricing strategy to predict changes in occupancy and demand, and then demonstrate how to maximize Zion Lodge's revenue and profits from room bookings using our new pricing techniques. So a little bit about this project. First, we're going to talk about Zion Lodge, a little background and information. Then we'll get into some of the visitor data to talk about how we created our analysis and our new pricing technique. We'll talk some about the limitations of the scope of the project itself, some of the trouble with not having proprietary data and how we can approach those problems, and then our proposed pricing changes and revenue optimizations. So some quick facts about the Zion Lodge. Again, it's located inside the national park in Springdale, Utah. It's been open for a number of years, and it was reconstructed after a fire in 1966. Since then, it's had about the same number of rooms. It is the only location in Zion National Park where you can purchase food. It has those two eateries listed here, and then it's the only licensed concessionaire, which means it's the only place where you can rent a room to stay inside the national park, and those are all sort of federally regulated. So if you're looking below here at this red chart, you can see that three different lodging types: cabin, hotel room, and suite, and those are the amounts available here. There are 40 cabins, 76 hotel rooms, and 6 suites with different prices, features, and then a varying max occupancy. So your booking options for trying to reserve those rooms, there's a website as well as you can call in and make a reservation by phone. And what you're looking at here on the right is an example of what it might look at as you search for availabilities. So here you're looking at September 2017, which would be just now kind of filling up. We're almost at the start of March 2017 as I record this video, and if you're looking many months in advance, the rooms fill up very fast. And so that can be somewhat of an inconvenience to guests because you see there are a lot of odd days. I imagine these Fridays will probably be the next going very soon. And so examining some of the data that's available to us, here are two of our primary sources of information. One is the historical data for recreation visitors by month to the national park itself, dating back all the way to 1979. This chart here chops off a little bit just based on the size of our slide. But you can note the seasonality trend based on this heat map. You can see they have far more visitors during warm weather months than they do in the winter months. And that trend seems to be only increasing with time. And then if you look at this data set here on the right, this is having to do specifically with Zion National Park, the concession lodging by month. And as I mentioned before, because Zion Lodge is the only concessionaire licensed by the federal government in Zion National Park, that would include or encapsulate all of the people staying at the hotel, whether in cabins, hotel rooms, or suites. And so this is just to talk a little bit about some of the research limitations. If we were to look for an available room, say in August of this year, first I did a quick search for a one-night stay. So I, knowing that July 4th would likely be a date that sold out, that's the date I started with, and then it has something that says, sorry, we're sold out, check another date, and then it allows you to use this calendar feature. So the next month I checked in August and see that there are some availabilities. Probably the most highly sought after days are the Fridays and Saturdays. But I see here a nice block of two, the 24th and 25th, a Thursday and a Friday. So if I were to just book that room on the 24th, checking out on that Friday, I see that it's available for purchase and even has a slight discount because we're right now in a spring booking period that affords you some discount. And then if I were to say, okay, maybe I'm going to take those days off of work, both the Thursday and the Friday, and enjoy a nice long weekend, maybe come home on Saturday and then do laundry on Sunday, and I want to book those 2 days, when I go back to book the 2 dates here, I see that it says sold out. And the reason being is they have different availabilities for the different room types, which you see here on this slide. So if I were to book a multi-night stay and I booked those as single nights, it would mean I'd have to pack up all my things and then move to a new room halfway through my stay. They don't charge any penalty or fee for changes or cancellations of your reservation up to 48 hours prior to your stay. So we suspect that, especially with the high demand, some people might be booking and then changing or canceling their reservations a number of times. And then there's some added complication with extra guests or max occupancy. For an extra guest, it's $10. You can also rent rollaway beds, but a gentleman at the front desk was unclear about the max occupancy, so what you see here is our estimations. And I'm going to allow Aaron to introduce some more about that information.
After examining the data, we see that the demand pattern for booking these hotel rooms follows a concave pattern, meaning that early on in the time period of availability, the majority of the customers are booking rooms. A concave pattern makes it a bit tougher to use exponential smoothing to try to unconstrain data, and add to the fact that our data shows significant seasonality. So we decided that Holt's model, or double exponential smoothing, was not the best way to try to unconstrain our data. Our demand. We need to unconstrain it, of course, to try to figure out what true demand is past the point of when all the rooms are booked. Another issue is, because of the volatile nature of these the booking rates, it would be a lot more helpful if we could scrape data every day for over a certain period of time to be able to watch how fast each type of room books up, to see the customer patterns there. Another approach we started to take that ended up being a dead end was to try to show availability using a binary variable. For example, if you look at a particular month and you see that 2 days are available, you don't know how many rooms there are for each of those days. So instead of trying to guess at that, since we don't have the data, we could just say 0 for no availability for a particular day or 1 for available. However, that turned out to be ineffective. We ended up going with Winter's model to try to unconstrain the demand, or triple exponential smoothing, which is like Holt's model but incorporates seasonality. And as you can see from the chart, the fit seems quite good and also gives us a better idea of the additional number of people who might be interested in booking a room had they had the opportunity to. We have to assume also for this that demand is basically unlimited, in an effort to figure out how we could shift that demand from the peak times to another time in the year that would help them to maximize their revenue. Having such a high demand creates a lot of inefficiencies for our customers, not only because people are bogging down the system by signing up for a room, trying to reserve a room for 7, 8, or 9 months in advance, or even more in some cases, but also that because of the lax return policy, you can make that reservation 9 months in advance and then up to 48 hours in advance cancel it for a full refund. But using revenue management techniques, we can try to increase the revenue of Zion's Lodge and also get rid of some of these efficiencies. So some of the solutions that we have that we want to pursue are increasing rates for the weekend, changing the refund policy to make that a little bit more strict, also trying to find some sort of promotional incentive that we can use in conjunction with the restaurants that are there at Zion Lodge. One of the things that we thought would be most promising would be to actually have a dynamic pricing for this reservation system. So depending on the time of year, holidays, seasons like winter or summer, to have significant price changes. The reason that we want to do this is to make sure that all those extra people that want to stay in the summer have enough incentive to switch their reservation time to some other time in the year when there's less of a strain on the system. So on the left you can see the initial model where the current prices remain the same all year, and our expected revenue is almost $7 million. Using Solver, we can look at a range of prices that go a little bit higher, and you can see that expected revenue is significantly higher, almost an extra $500,000. So making this simple change could make a big difference. However, there are some problems with this. Unfortunately, the company that owns Zion Lodge, Xanterra, has to have approval for any pricing changes from the government. And in talking to Phil, the front desk man, they actually have already received approval for a price increase, even though it seems very marginal and not likely to influence the high numbers of demand. One thing that was also interesting is that for the first time this year, pricing will be changing during holidays. And so that will be interesting to see how that affects demand during those holiday times. Without knowing the volume or the magnitude of that price increase, it's difficult to say at this point. Also, having more information, especially about price elasticity, people's willingness to shift their preferences away from summer if they're more price sensitive, and also their buying behaviors, their booking patterns in the months that lead up to their stay would be extremely helpful and would probably have a significant impact on how we structure our prices. Thank you.